In this video, I will discuss how to calculate the returns for your investment accurately. Hello, this is Venkatesh, and here is my Twitter handle and YouTube channel. Here I put contents around personal finance, stock investing, health insurance, and time management. So, what is the difficulty or challenge in calculating investment returns? So, let us go with the most common investment options like mutual funds, shares, and real estate. All of these have multiple cash flows. There are more than one cash flows. If you take mutual funds, one may be doing monthly SIP for several months. He might be receiving dividends and a part of redemption in between whenever there is a need. In case of shares, the same holds good. One could make a lump sum or a periodic investment. This is followed by dividends and part sales, payment of taxes on gains as well as dividends and so on. There are multiple transactions. And finally is the real estate. There is a one-time big outgo followed by periodic or non-periodic rent receipt, payment of maintenance, property tax and so on. So you'll see in all these cases, the transactions are not linear. It doesn't happen month on month. It could be very fluctuating, and also the every month the same transaction or same amount would not be present. Like for example, rent this month it may be 15,000. If the tenant vacates and there is no rent for next 3 months, so that way we have a dynamic situation where the transactions are very much non-linear. So the problem with conventional CAGR formula is that it has one end value and one beginning value. So what you invested and what you take out. So it cannot support multiple transactions like how we saw in the previous slide. In the previous slide, you would have seen that there are multiple transactions which chain for different periods. Like the starting SIP on a 2 year span of SIP, the first SIP would be invested for 24 months, whereas the last SIP would have been invested only for 1 month. So that way, the invested time zone is also time horizon is also different. So hence, the conventional CAGR formula is not able to support these requirements. This is where the XIRR formula comes to a rescue. This formula can help to calculate the CAGR for a non-periodic and multiple transactions, be it inflow or outflow. We will see more practical aspects of the formula in a short while in Excel. But however, just to cover the basics, the formula needs at least one negative and one positive value. The dates must be valid and the transaction should be in chronological order. So let us now move to see practically how this formula can be used to calculate the returns for mutual funds, stocks, or real estate. So we will see how to practically use the XIR formula. The dates should be in chronology. So the earlier date comes first and the latest date comes the last. So now I want to find out the returns for for investment from 1st Jan 2021, okay, till 1st Jan 2022. It's for a 1 year period. And the next requirement is the right syntax to avoid errors. See, dates, since I have conveniently assumed January 1st, you can find 1 in both the places. If it is 3-1, it's not sure whether the 3 is month or date. So, to be more clear or to avoid any errors, convert this to a format where you can see the month. Something preferably like this. So, there is no chance of any error where you interchange the month and the date fields. So now we have the right syntax. Then I enter the value. So I am investing 10,000 in the beginning or the 1st of Jan. And remember that the invested value is outgo from your end and hence it should be negative. I make it as negative. And on Jan 1st, you are going to redeem or you are going to receive your maturity proceeds. Since it's an inflow to you, it will be positive. So let's say, let us assume that I'm getting 10,000 or 11,000. Let me assume that I'm getting 11,000 back on January 2022, exactly 1 year later. So let us use this formula. The syntax is XIRR close brackets value date followed by close brackets. So the first value, the money or your investment value should be chosen, comma, followed by the dates. And you can find 10%. Yes, it's correct, because 10% of 10,000 is 1,000 rupee, which is the added interest or returns whatever you got, and the total is 11,000. So you can see on a 1 year period you got a 10% return. So the formula works well, you can see that. So let us quickly see what if I have both of them positive. You find an error here, and suppose the date format is mixed. Say I have the latest date first, then also I get error. Here I have made Jan 23 and 1 year before date I have put here, so I'm getting an error here. And suppose if I had not used this syntaxing properly, I mean date syntax properly, and I'm missing this, and I want to indicate 3rd Jan, there is no way for me to see whether it was 3rd Jan or 1st of March. So date syntax could vary between different regions. So it's better to have a well formatted date syntax. So this goes for the usage of the formula. You can just play around with the numbers sometimes. Say suppose you are getting 15,000 returns, you are getting 50%, and suppose you are getting it halfway, like 1st of July you are getting the money. So how much is the return in that case? Within 7 months, that is after completion of 6 months, at the beginning of the 7th month you are getting the same money. So then the returns is 21.19%. So hope it's clear, and now we will move towards utilizing this formula on a more practical level for mutual funds. So let us discuss how to use this formula practically on calculating the returns for mutual funds. In mutual funds, I have made 2 categories. One is for non-SIP, where you make a bulk one-time investment and have a one-time or a periodic redemptions, whereas the other one is where you have a month-on-month SIPs, which is more common among the retail investors. So the first option, let us go for a non-SIP. So let us assume that last year February you made a lump sum investment of say 10 lakhs or 5 lakhs. Okay, this is last year February, and you redeemed it somewhere last week. So let us make the date format identical, and your redemption value was maybe 5 lakh 36,000. This is very much similar to whatever we saw in the previous video, where you saw the practical application of the XIRR formula. But the beauty or the power lies when we have more complications or additional details. So let us go with the basic stuff whatever we have now. So it's very straightforward. You invested on 1st February 5 lakhs, and last week 15 June you have 5 lakh 36,000. So let us calculate the returns. So I put XIRR open brackets values the money values first, followed by the dates. This is showing a negative or a error because the outgo was not entered as negative, because the invested amount is outgo from your end and it should always be negative. And we have the returns here, which is around 5%, 5.2%. This is the returns whatever you got over your investment. Now the real beauty lies when there are more additional values in this transaction. Say in between you had received a dividend of say 6,000 rupees. So that when I append it, dividend, maybe somewhere on 31st December you got it, 6,000 rupees. Since that is inflow, we calculate it as plus value, and you can see the returns has increased from 5.2 percentage to 6.09 percentage. So let me make it slightly bigger for you all to see. Okay, 6.09%. And now what else is possible in such a transaction? Or you made an intermediate investment, like after February, you got some more money on maybe 1st of June, and you invested in another 1 lakh. Since it's outgo, you're putting as negative value, and of course your redemption value also will increase. This is maybe around 6 lakhs 40,000, and now your returns is at 5 lakh 80,000. So now let me move on to the calculation of SIP. So this is more common in retail investors, where we do a SIP for a fixed amount for a couple of months and then redeem it based on our life goals. So in this example, let me consider that I am doing a SIP for 10,000 rupees month on month. So since that is an outflow from me, it's all negative values. So I do this SIP till 1st of December for 12 months. So the amount invested for this 12 months is 12 into 10,000 per month is around 1,20,000. And I redeem it on 31st December. After the last SIP, I decided to redeem everything in one go, and I get say 1,35,000 as my redemption proceeds. So now let us use this formula to see how much returns we have made in our investment. Is equal to XARR. First the financial numbers followed by the date range. So in one go we got the result as 24%. Now let us do some more tweaking on this. Say assume you would have got a dividend somewhere mid-year. You would have got 1st or 31st July. You got some maybe 60,000. You would have got some 5,000 rupees, say. So that is an inflow to you. So it remains as positive. And now we can see the returns have shot up to 33.24%. And there is a tax to be paid since you have made a gain here, and it's a short-term tax. So in this, the gain amount is 1,35,000 minus 1,20,000. It is roughly 15,000. And tax is a short-term tax of 15% over this 15,000. So the tax amount is 2,250, which I pay before the 15th March due date. So since that is an outgo from you, you need to put it as negative value, minus 2250. Remember, I'm just taking an approximate number for demonstration. Of course, you may have to calculate the surcharge or whatever when you do the tax calculations. I'm just taking here just to illustrate the idea behind it. So you can add any number of iterations or any number of possibilities in these transactions, and you can get the results here dynamically, but only ensure that your formula covers the entire range of the transactions. See, now I enter the last value 2250, it's not getting covered, and hence it not give an accurate result. So I need to extend this formula to cover this range as well. Once done, whatever was 33.24% becomes now 29.57%. So like that you can do it for 36 months. If you have done a SIP for 36 months, you can bring in all the values here and calculate the XARR. So let us now see the approach for calculating the returns for stocks. This is very much similar to whatever we saw now. Just we'll quickly cover it. Suppose on a script X you invest some bulk amount of 10 lakhs on a date, 10 lakhs on a 1st of Jan, and being a outgo from you, it should be negative, and you are redeeming it somewhere today, 21st June 2021, and the amount of whatever the redemption proceeds is, say, around 19 lakhs or 18 lakhs. So this is the present value or whatever you have redeemed. So let us, the XAR in this case, it's going to be pretty high number. I intentionally took such a gain. So you see the returns is close to 26.85% over a span of say 2.5 years. Now let us add a more realistic scenario that you averaged out, like every time there was a market fall, you averaged it out by buying more of those stocks, and it happened in different dates. This is happening on 15th August 19. You just invested some 1 lakh additional investment, and since being a negative, it should be minus, though the formula is still valid and it will not show a error. We should be very careful in entering this as negative value, and then maybe somewhere in 2020 beginning, or when the market crashed in December, March month, say month of 23rd March, I think that was the time when the market hit the all-time low, 5 years low. So maybe 23rd March 2020, I invested another 5 lakhs additional investment, and all this together, we have a, what to say, redemption value or the present value today, as on today, is going to be around somewhere in 30 lakhs, say 30 lakhs. So your portfolio return is around a good sum of around 35%. So you can see by just adding the rows, you can play around with the formula and you can simulate a more realistic scenario. Say if you have in between redeemed, say example, I partly redeemed 1 month ago. So I have redeemed roughly 1 month ago a part of the 10,000, part of the 10 lakh, and now I have only redeemed 20 lakhs. The return slightly was changed. The return value has slightly changed. Part redemption, and this is the present value. So on, you can bring in your own realistic situation, and taxation is always there. And post all the sale, say you have made a gain of, I think the invested amount was close to 16 lakh, and you have redeemed around 30 lakhs. So the gain is around 14 lakhs. Being a short term, it's around 2.1 lakh you have to pay as tax, and let us assume that you are paying the same day you sold the final tranche. So minus 2.1 lakhs. Please remember, this formula is not covering the taxation, so we need to drag the formula, and this is more realistic figure of your post-tax returns. Remember, I know that up to 1 lakh there is no taxation of dividends and all that. I just took a super simple case to illustrate only this formula aspect. So now we will see how to use this formula very efficiently in calculating the returns for real estate in the next slide. So let me now move to the final calculation of returns for real estate using the same formula. Real estate is something which many can relate to. So let us consider this hypothetical example that this person buys a house on 31st December 2018 by investing amount of around 40 lakhs. So he buys a second-hand flat purely for the purpose of letting it out for rent. So he immediately lets it out for rent the next day, and he earns 15,000 rand per month for the first year, and from the second year it's slightly rent is hiked and he earns 16,500, and third year, that is 2021, he gets a rent of 18,000, and in June he decides to sell out the property because he want to invest somewhere else. Say he sells it for 45 lakhs. So the first value, which is the investment amount, is outgo, it's negative, and from there on all the values are positive. The rent values are all the income to that person and it's all positive, and even the sale is positive. So let us just calculate the results. XARR, financial numbers first. Followed by the date range. So he has close to around 30% returns. Around 30% return. 10%, sorry, I'm sorry. Around 10% returns. So it's not a great return, I agree, but this is just for illustration purposes. And when he lets out, I'm sure he would have got a advance amount. So let us say he has collected an advance of, say, 1 lakh. Which is of course refunded after any depreciation and all other things. Let us say there was no depreciation, there is no what to say, painting charges. Painting was done by the tenant, and he repays the amount of 1 lakh back to the tenant when he vacates on 31st May. Okay, so now you see earlier the returns was okay. Since he has to pay back, this should be negative. The returns is 10.15% each, and let us say that there is a property tax of 7,000 rupees. So every 1st of April he is supposed to pay that, and that is a outgo. That's a outgo. So that should be negative. Property tax minus 7,000. So again for April 2020, I need to add that minus 7,000 tax. And lastly for April 2021 as well, the amount is paid out. So let us confirm whether the formula covers the whole range. Yeah, it covers the whole range, and you can see that in all, considering the more realistic situation of taxes or payment of receiving of rent, he has a return of 9.91%. So let us assume, though he has bought the house, first 3 months he could not let out, but in that period he has to pay maintenance to the society. So minus 1,500 for the first 3 months, and now you can see the return come down to 9%. So this way you can simulate a more realistic situation if you have all the inputs and the corresponding dates and calculate the XARR or the returns for your investment. Thanks for watching this video, and if you found it useful, you may please share this with others, and if you liked it, please do like this video. Thank you very much.